So much happening in the Kenyan football scene. And also on that note, we have James Situma in studio with us. He's the president of Kefwa. That is an organization that deals with the welfare of players in the country, who will be also talking to us about the elections, the FKF elections, because they directly affect these players, and also what just Kefwa is doing for the players in the country. Karibu sana, James.
Nashukuru sana.
It's been long since we hosted you here.
Yeah, it's almost 2 years.
Karibu
Yeah,
sana.
nashukuru.
Let's quickly start with the elections before now we go to the player welfare in Kenya. Quickly, we've seen they have set a date. You know, some of these branch elections had been suspended, the ones that were done. The national, they were told to go back to make the electoral code and the electoral board. Yesterday, we had so many people, so many delegates, but Kefwa was not among the people there. And also, I remember the Referees Association and also the Football Coaches Association. Why is that?
Yeah, okay, they always say we haven't held an election past the last 4 years. But again, I want to say that, you know, you have to put your house in order first, because we have always thought that election is the solution of the problems that we have in football industry, but it's not. So for us, we have our own timeline, and we work according to our pace.
Yeah.
And I believe before we do anything, we just have to make sure that our house is in order. We have the structures in place so that even if I'm not there, the next day, someone who comes in, he has to make sure that he goes by the rules and regulation of the association, because we are under FIFPro, and also we have the guidelines that always guide us through the association. We have to follow the guidelines through under FIFPro.
Yes. We'll come to more details about FIFPro and everything that the organization does. But let's talk about one thing that is actually causing nightmares in the football industry, and this has to be how Kenya Premier League is struggling financially. And the moment the Kenyan Premier League is struggling financially, that means the players are actually suffering. And this year has been worse since the main sponsor pulled out, and they haven't gotten another sponsor yet till this point. So specifically talking about Kenyan Premier League players, how's Kefwa helping them just to make sure at least, you know, they are surviving, because it's a sad state of affairs. Even big clubs like Gor Mahia and FC Leopards have not yet paid their players.
Yeah, it's so sad, and it's a tough situation for the players, because remember, they always earn whenever they play. But at the moment, the top league doesn't have a sponsorship, so you can understand how our hands are so tight, because, you know, the players are not being paid. They are coming to us, but we always try to make sure that we talk to the clubs. However little they have to share with the players to keep them going, because we understand fully that we don't have a sponsorship in the league. So the last choice we can tell the players is to maybe to boycott the league, to stop playing, and that's not the solution, because for us as Kefwa, we want to be part of the solution for Kenyan football. So if we can say anything that can affect the league negatively, then that's not our mission. But it's our prayers that we get the sponsorship for the top league, so that the life of the footballers can continue. Because at the moment, we have seen Sony go down, we have seen Nakumat go down because of the sponsorship, and football is business. So how much are we doing to make sure that we have these corporates, impressing these corporates to come on board and make sure that they support the clubs in Kenya? So I just feel like the clubs management have to come around with the way of working to make sure that they welcome the corporates to make sure that they come and support the league. But for us as Kefwa, we just have to have a solution. So at the moment, we are encouraging the players to embrace education, because we believe knowledge is power. You have to gamble between the two. If you have knowledge and maybe do something apart from football, you can juggle between the two. Maybe at times you go for the training to play, and maybe you are not getting enough money in playing. You have maybe like jobs, you see, to make sure that you have a fallback plan. So that's our main intention, and at the moment we are doing that campaign. Last year we had a partnership with Zitech University, and I believe that's a good start for us, because we believe if the players can go back to school and have knowledge, then it's the best thing to do, because, you know, if you have knowledge, it helps you going forward, because you can't play forever. So we believe and we urge the players to embrace something that we are doing to make sure that at least they can keep on going.
Yes, and we'll also see some of your photos. You have played before for previous, for some Kenyan clubs, and you played in the Sport Pesa era and during the Sport Pesa era, because everyone is talking about Sport Pesa pulling out their sponsorship, but back then the league still used to survive. So what has changed? Why does it look like the Kenyan Premier League is stagnant while other leagues in the world are growing? Just the Kenyan Premier League is the one that is just there stagnant. What happened? Did these clubs invest more, or what happened? And no club has like a full nice stadium in the country.
Yeah, I just believe the managers, they just don't think beyond the box, because outside the box, because I believe when the Sport Pesa was around, you know, we have an agreement, maybe a contract of a certain period. Okay, what happens when it gets in between and they decide to go away the way they did? So you have to plan yourself, because I remember we have this thing of club licensing, whereby the federation have to make sure that the clubs have to implement to make sure that it guides them through the...
And this includes actually paying players in the process.
Exactly, and it's like, okay, you just have to have enough money on in your bank account to make sure that you are able to run your club. But at the moment, it's not happening. You know, Kenya, we have so many things behind the scene. You have a lot of politics, and whenever you air out your views and it goes maybe against mine, you
become an enemy.
You are seen like an enemy.
Yes.
You see, we don't embrace that friendship of coming together to make sure that we share ideas, and that's something that has really affected our football in this country. But I believe everyone, even to the fans, they have a lot to share into Kenyan football, because without them into the stadiums, you know, as a player, I want to make sure that I'm playing, I'm happy, and I want to give my best, knowing that we have a lot of fans in the stadium. They have come to get the entertainment, but at the moment it's not happening. So what can we do? It's just that we put aside self-interest and make sure that we work towards the development of football in this country.
Okay, and also we have this one issue that has been there for a long time, FKF versus KPL, especially in terms of that contract. And that contract ends this year, and FKF will have a possibility of now taking over the Kenyan Premier League. Do you support this move? Because, you know, Nick is very focused on having that contract. Do you think things will change? Is it a good thing?
It's all about the motive behind it, to develop football, because if you have self-interest, then it doesn't work. Because, okay, for me, I believe up to now, when from the previous time when we had Nyamoya, I believe KPL has really done a good job, because at that time we didn't have the direction, whereby we had two functions, corporate teams and also maybe the community teams playing another league. But the KPL came in like an entity, and to make sure that we have sanity and we have direction and the control of running the football in this country. Okay, federation is the big body running football in this country. They are in charge of football. So I believe if they just come together and harmonize the ideas, they can work together and make sure that we develop football in this country.
Yes, let's also now talk about Kefwa and Fifth Pro and exactly what you're doing for these players to make sure that it's not just only about playing football, but also building themselves as they grow old in the sport.
Yeah, we have noticed that, okay, you know, with the challenges we have in Kenyan football, we realize when it is too late that, okay, I'm maybe leaving playing active football, and you haven't done anything, you haven't saved, and with the challenges, we can't tell the players to save, to have something, to have something in his bank, and he is not yet being paid. So for us, we believe that we have to give them knowledge, and we have to make them know that you have to have life skills when you are too young, because most of the times we have players coming from high school. They are so green, they doesn't have any experience at the top level, and when they get into the bad hands, I can say maybe fake agents, they mislead them to at the top, and they end up not playing playing, and also they just vanish from the scene. So for us, we believe that we have to give them knowledge, we have to make them understand that, okay, football is a profession, and they have to believe in Kefwa. We want to guide them that, okay, whenever you want support, come to us, we can guide you, and also we can represent you maybe when you want to have a certain contract with a certain team. So we are in that position, and we believe so many have really embraced the idea, and they know Kefwa is there, and we know that with time, when things will be okay in the Premier League, I believe also our hands will be somehow free, and we will work in a good way, because it's so challenging to work to talk to the players and the moment we have the situation as it is in the country.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us, James Situma, just, you know, shedding light on what Kefwa does for players and also what to expect. And we're hoping the situation in the Kenyan Premier League will actually change soon.
Thank you.
Asante sana.
Shukran.
Let's now quickly go